Okay, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, listen. As we all know, a lot of stuff going on in this generation is basically just trash. Everything that's going on is trash. The housing market is trash. Marriage market is trash. Just starting a family in general is just trash now, right? But this video hit me by surprise. I was waiting for this video. I was literally waiting for this video. Single motherhood in China. We know what it is in America, but I want to see how the Chinese look at it. And I'm surprised. I'm so surprised that we're going to review this video. That's how surprised I am. Now let's check it out.
Which one would you choose, a divorced woman with a child or an older single woman? Today I'm presenting two women, both from our city, Luoyang. One is 30 years old, divorced, and has a 5-year-old daughter. She doesn't ask for a wedding gift, just wants you to treat her daughter well. She is a very responsible and good woman. The other is 31 years old, unmarried, and requires the man to have a house and a car.
Here we go.
However, she has a stronger personality and is a very determined person. Both are ready to marry as soon as they make a decision. So, men, could you make a choice?
I guarantee you both of those women are on dating apps. I guarantee you they're both very picky. And see, here's the thing. The first one sounds cool. You notice how she didn't mention a dowry. So that's your discount right there. But you have to be a stepfather though. So are you willing to, that's a lot to take in. So, oh my God, it's like my tongue is twisted because if you think about both situations, if you think about the age, it's just a year difference, but both of their situations are pretty shitty. I mean, damn. So basically she had that baby when she was 25. She was already married. So that just adds more baggage onto it. That's all emotional baggage. So whatever he didn't do, understand that you're going to have to do it if you're going to choose the woman with the child. Oh man, my space bar ain't working.
Today, I really went through the most awkward blind date ever.
Oh boy.
The guy I met, Xiao Zhong, is the same age as me, also 39 years old.
Ooh.
But as soon as we sat down to talk, we barely exchanged a few sentences before he started saying he regretted coming to meet me, that he shouldn't have come. I was speechless and asked why. He said he had just come from another date, and because of the judgmental looks and societal pressure, he didn't dare to follow his heart. Now, comparing me to the other woman, he started thinking about how good she was. I was furious and asked what was so special about that woman that kept him so attached.
Ooh.
Do you know what he said? He told me that woman was 26.
And science will never fail to the real world. So that's a 13-year difference right there. So that's a decade and almost another half of a decade. 13, 15 years, that would have been a decade and a half. And see, from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, when you do a lineup of women, let's say you got 5 women, ranging from, I'll say, maybe 23 to 30. So, of course, the first 3 are going to get picked first.
Had been married before and had a 2-year-old daughter. Upon hearing this, I was outraged. I said, I, 39 years old, with a master's degree, am inferior to a divorced woman with a child.
But we don't care about your college degree.
He then replied, calling me a leftover woman, and said that I think too highly of myself. He said I was so used to living alone that, even if we were together, I wouldn't be able to fit into his family's life, and even having children might be a problem for me.
I mean, he's not wrong. She's almost 40 and she's just now trying to have a child. I've worked with a woman that's had a child when she was like 41 and she's had a lot of problems. But thank God, the little one's healthy, doing her thing now. The baby's about 2 or 3 now. But yeah, so I noticed that most older women, when they have their first child and they're like in their 40s, they usually tend to have complications. especially for a first child at that age. That's not all women, but that's just some.
As for the divorced woman, according to him, she is more mature,
Oh.
knows how to deal with family relationships, and if there's any conflict with his mother, she could handle it with ease. His only concern was what others would think and the pressure of raising her child, but since she's 26, he thought having children with her in the future wouldn't be a problem, whereas I, at 39, might face difficulties.
I mean, it's a better idea if he wants to start a family. The goal is to start a family with a young woman, because there's less likely to be complications with the child, especially in the pre-middle stage.
After hearing all of this, I was extremely angry. I said, "What's so special about a divorced woman with a child? She's already been married, and I'm still single. If I marry you, it'll be my first marriage, but with her, it'll be her second. Don't you know how to compare?"
I know how to compare. And I think I'll choose her simply because I'm not aiming at having kids, because a lot of people in this generation aren't having kids. And I don't see myself having none. So I'm going with the 39-year-old. Forget all that other shit.
Don't you know how to make a choice? Besides, I'm highly qualified with a master's degree, while she only has a technical diploma. How can she compare to me? He said he didn't care about qualifications, only about age and appearance. How superficial. So I said, fine, since we're not on the same page, we don't need to talk anymore. Now, tell me, if it were you, would you choose a divorced woman with children or someone like me, a high-quality single woman?
Someone like you, baby.
Single women over 30 and divorced women in their 30s. Which one is more desirable? To be honest, single women over 30 really aren't as in demand as divorced women.
That's why I choose them.
Let me explain. Single women over 30 can be divided into two types. The first type are those with a higher level of education, who have good jobs, are personally very competent, or come from a well-off family. The second type are those who entered the workforce early, have a lower level of education, and started working at 17 or 18, but after searching for a husband for over 10 years, still haven't found one. These women were picky in their 20s, and now in their 30s. They are still picky, and won't lower their standards for a partner. Divorced women. Some have left their marriages because the husband was at fault, leading to an unhappy marriage. So they divorced. Some left because the mother-in-law was too controlling.
Oh boy. And see, and this is pretty common for guys that are marrying women from other cultures different of their own. You're going to deal with this a lot. You're going to have a lot of issues with your mother-in-law. I've seen this with friends. So even though as a single man myself, I could see it in other people's relationships and marriages. So I don't have to experience it myself when I could see what's going on within my own two eyes. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Just like I don't have to go all the way to China to see what's true and what's not true, because I have Chinese friends and I have Chinese friends that grew up in Hong Kong and other parts of China. So why would they lie to me what goes on over there? It's not like I display a high interest to go over there in the first place. So there's no reason to really lie.
There were conflicts with in-laws. Some because the husband was abusive, or a gambler, or had other issues. But these women are in fact capable of leading a good life. They just married the wrong person. Single men over 30 are mostly decent guys, but aren't great at sweet talking, or come from average families. These men, if they can't find someone single, will choose a divorced woman, but they won't try to match up with a woman who has a high level of education. I'm Xiaolong. Goodbye.
Deuces. What have we learned from the other guy? Well, who in the hell would try to match up to a woman like that? But see, here's the problem with dealing with the younger woman that's 26. The younger she is, the more games and shit you're gonna be playing with. We all know young people like to play a lot of games, and then we think mentally that these women will grow up and be more mature. We think, but that's not always the case, because they get even pickier as they get older, and sometimes if you look good enough, they might just choose you, even though you don't check off all the boxes. But they're like, okay, one day they're going to realize that they're not going to get Prince Charming, and they're just going to have to get whoever's paying attention to them. Duh.
Beautiful and young, even if she's a single mother with a child. If the woman has money, would you accept that or not?
No.
Now, relationships between older women and younger men are becoming more common.
It's the new thing.
What do you think of this phenomenon?
It's the new thing. That's what I think about it. It's just like Ray J and Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston liked younger dudes, and Ray J was all in for it. I mean, that's a celebrity standpoint, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's not. Even Lil Wayne, he had an older Spanish woman. I don't even know what her name is or what she looked like, but this is just he say, she said, but you get the idea.
These kinds of relationships are increasing, but to what extent? I think most men first look at a woman's appearance. You need to consider some factors beforehand, don't you? You need to see what kind of woman she is. If she's older, has no money, and has a child, would you agree to that?
No.
No one would accept that.
No.
Right? A beautiful and young woman, even if she's a single mother with a child and has money, is a different choice.
And that's a hard choice too, because most young single mothers don't have any money. A lot of young single mothers don't come from families that have money either. So this is a difficult boat to be in. Because understand, yeah, you want younger, you want more attractive, but this woman has a whole nother child, and then occasionally you're going to see the ex, because the ex is going to come over the house and pick up the child and all that. So you're dealing with a lot if you take on a younger woman with a child or two. Now, usually you're going to have to deal with at least one. Me, at my age, I'm in my late 30s, so you know a woman my age is going to be a divorcee with a couple of kids. And I just can't stand for that.
Isn't that the logic? You have to look at what kind of woman she is in this case. In the end, her appearance counts, right? Human nature is like that, a bit dark. What is the pattern of this phenomenon? The woman could be a single, divorced mother with a child. The man, young, full of energy, and physically fit. This is the standard of a relationship between an older woman and a younger man. Many young people from Generation Z like to look for older women.
Why?
I know why. I think that young people of this generation, regardless of the time, have always liked older women. It's true. Whether in the 90s, 80s, or 70s, as long as the man is between 18 and 25 years old, he tends to prefer older women. Why? Because he's young, and seeking someone older seems easier than finding a younger woman. Looking for a younger woman is complicated, filled with drama and intense emotions, but an older woman doesn't bring as many problems.
Financially, they will, from a financial standpoint, but maybe in other areas, in physical areas. See, here's the thing. When it comes to older women, you better be checking a medicine box in the bathroom if you ever get a chance to go over to her apartment or whatever the hell she got. Because you got to factor in, okay, how much trauma she's been through as an older person. Because as we get older, we get wiser. We've been through more situations, and we'll say no more of this, no more of that. But then we might need somebody to talk to about what we've been through over the past few years. So over the age of 30, most people's lives are a shit show, right? So they start seeing shrinks and stuff. And this is more common in women, antidepressants and everything. So, I mean, there's no perfect situation if you look at it. So you either deal with the younger single mother, or you're going to deal with the older woman that's never been married but has a little bit of cash to splurge. She got a nice BMW 5 Series. You guys go on nice lunches, outings, even vacations. I mean, some people just want somebody to do things with. And there's nothing wrong with a little company, right? Misery loves company. So you either gonna put up with the bullshit with the baby father, or you're gonna put up with the older woman's bullshit. Which, I mean,
She provides emotional value and gives you what you want. Men between 18 and 25 are in a phase of impulsivity, and with the economy weakening and competition getting tougher, it seems no one wants to get stuck in emotional dramas anymore. Maybe that's why they seek these relationships. It could be that women are becoming stronger too. Yes, that could be, but I remember that when I was younger, I didn't care much about these things. Maybe because I was young. If I wanted to date someone older, I would. If I wanted someone younger, I would as well. Actually, there's no fixed pattern for this. I agree. When I was younger, I thought like that too. It didn't matter much, as long as we were happy together. But there is a more delicate issue. Older women have difficulties finding older men. Older men are pragmatic and always prefer women of 18 years old.
fucking perverts. That's why. It's not common to see a 60-year-old man with an 18 or a 20-year-old, 21-year-old. Yeah. To them, that's gold to an old man. See, an old man is going to aim for the youngest. Barely legal. Just able to get a driver's license. Just able to be 21 and get a drink and gamble in the casinos. And that's why a lot of guys go to Thailand and get the bar girls. Because those girls are fairly young. Some of those girls aren't even 21. So that's why there's a lot of these older passport bros as well. Because they try to go for the youngest thing that they could get. They're going for girls that they know that they can't get here in the States. So that's another thing to look at too. Versus a man that's between the 18 and 25 is barely getting play. So of course he's going to, put his age limit up on the woman to 35 to 40 because he figures, okay, this might be fun. Just have a little bit of fun. Get your noodle wet until you can get that younger woman that you always wanted when you're 35. You might want a 25-year-old.
Right? Another point is that a relationship between an older woman and a younger man is different from marriage.
And she might be able to teach you some things too in life. So it's not all black and white if you're a younger guy dealing with older women. I mean, it's not a bad thing. And a lot of these age gap relationships are short term anyway. A lot of these age gap relationships don't even lead to marriage. So a lot of it is just fun anyway.
Right? It's essential to understand the difference between dating and marriage. Many
Yes.
men can date, but once marriage is mentioned, they step back. I understand what you're trying to say. So, what exactly is your question? Ask directly what you really want to know so we can give practical advice.
And it doesn't matter how long it goes on either, because you're not going to know the person until you live in with them. Always tell yourself that. You're not going to know the person until you move in with them. The true colors are going to burst.
I believe any issue should represent a specific experience you've already been through. Yes, so go straight to the point. It happened to me in the past. So I realized that men are, in fact, quite practical. But aren't women practical too? In the end, everyone is realistic. Whether male or female, life teaches you well. Yes, men are even more practical than women. Girl, I can only say that you haven't fully matured yet.
Oh.
When you understand and learn life's lessons, you will comprehend human nature better.
Wow. Talk about wisdom.
Actually, there is a case of a man from Beijing with a high education and immature, willing to marry a single mother of two with a rural high school diploma and a son.
Damn.
When I first started dating my husband, it was because it was an online relationship. And considering my husband's circumstances, even my parents said I must have been deceived. How could someone like him, with those conditions, be interested in me? Honestly, I also didn't believe that such good luck would come my way.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say luck. It's good luck for her, but then was it good luck for him? I mean, at the end of the day, they both scored and found happiness within each other, I guess. So Maybe he couldn't find nobody else, so he settled. And maybe she knew she was going to have a hard time accepting her conditions, so she settled. So both of these two people settled and just said, fuck it, and went all in. There. That's how I look at it. There has to be some positivity in this, right?
Until he proposed to me.
Oh.
We got our marriage certificate in Beijing. That's when I truly believed that luck had smiled on me.
Wow.
Now we've been married for 4 years. And our relationship is as strong as ever. Although there is a big difference in our education levels. I've always been working hard to improve myself. My husband never looked down on me for having a lower education. He always says that a diploma doesn't define capability.
No, it don't.
So, with his encouragement, I've become more confident. And I no longer feel inferior because I'm from a second marriage and have lower education. That's why I'm brave enough to share my story now. So that more women can see my journey. Recently, since we're trying to conceive our second child, I've been getting up every morning to exercise. Then having breakfast. If it weren't for trying to conceive, I really couldn't eat these things.
And see, I'm a health nut, so when I see somebody of the opposite sex practicing this, it just warms my heart. So I'll say she's doing the right thing, even though her situation sucks. And this is her second marriage, but you don't judge people based on what happened to them, or do you? Either way, she found happiness again. So the only problem now that this new guy faces with this single mother of two is the baby father will always be a part of her. So even for hookup sessions, understand that, because they'll do anything to make it work with the originator. So most likely this guy will probably get cheated on.
Because the foods I dislike most are milk and eggs.
Oh.
But there's no choice. Now I have to eat more for the pregnancy. After eating, I need to wash the bowl immediately. Because in summer, it can easily start to smell. After washing, I rush to do my makeup. Because in the afternoon, I have a live stream and filming. My dance goes round and round. I come to you, with tears falling, saying you'll remember me. Okay? Makeup done. While I still have some time, I do my nails. Because my nails are thin. I rarely go to a salon. I do them myself. I apply glue on the nails. Then I put them under the lamp to dry. And
You
done.
fancy, huh?
Never believe those phrases like, invest in yourself.
Uh-oh.
As long as you have money, the woman should have everything. Thinking about my years as a divorced single man, I always thought that if I became successful, my wife would just appear, wanting to be with me.
And see, that's where a lot of you guys are messing up at. Yeah.
I decided to pursue a master's degree,
Don't mean a
went into
goddamn.
business and started my own company, and then I had the ability to buy houses and cars everywhere. At that time, I thought I was really doing great, but now I realize that if I still want to find a somewhat decent woman to marry, I'm most likely going to end up helping someone raise their kids. Of course, it's not that there's no possibility of dating an 18-year-old girl, but there really is a communication barrier with them.
They're stupid. Stupid. That's the communication barrier. It's like a squirrel trying to get a nut and then just run off. No indication what to do with the nut. Just bouncing it, running down the street across the freeway. And yeah. So the younger they are, the more bullshit you're going to put up with. It's like they're wet behind the ears. So if you're after these younger women, you're going to have to tame them if you can. But their parents couldn't tame them. What makes you think they can? Well, that's right. You could control them with money. Maybe. Till they get tired of you, then they're on to the next guy that has money.
These girls end up thinking you're with them because of your wealth, because of your money. Otherwise, why would someone their age be interested in you? In a few years, you'll look old. Now, when trying to get married, the range of options has really become very narrow. It seems like the only ones left are those women who can't get married, have high expectations, and in many cases, they're older women with difficult personalities, or divorced ones with children looking for a man to help. So, I advise all the men who are still struggling to make money after a divorce, If you can, get married sooner. Don't do like I did. If you wait until you're 60 and then get married, what's the point? Do you really want that? Do you really want to find a girl much younger, almost like your granddaughter, and when you can no longer move in bed, she'll bring you a bowl of medicine and you'll have to swallow it? Is that really how you imagine it?
All right, that got a little depressing there, didn't it? Damn. I mean, he went all the way through the dark tunnel with that one. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of guys are like 40, 50, obsessing over the image of having all these young girls when they're like 60, 70. They want to be the Playboy dude. I can't think of his name right now. I got brain clout right now. Hugh Hefner. There you go. Yeah, everybody thinks they're going to be a Hugh Hefner, but a lot of you won't, sadly.
I just saw a post suggesting that single men should marry divorced women with children, claiming that these women would value them more. Hee hee. Well, if you're a sucker who can provide financial support, of course they'd be willing to value you, because to them, you're basically just a wallet, right?
And as soon as that wallet closes, them legs is gonna close too.
First, guess who likely posted this? It was probably written by those second marriage women themselves.
Ooh.
They've noticed the shift. Even single women and older single women aren't finding it easy anymore, and many men are waking up, opting out of relationships and marriage, and these women are getting desperate.
Uh-oh.
It's like the car market. If even brand new cars aren't selling, imagine second-hand cars. Right? Ha ha ha. Recently, I saw lots of news about people investing tons of money stockpiling used cars that they can't sell and are now just rotting away in their warehouses. It's really sad. These second-hand women are desperate, and they are now posting things like this. I've always emphasized, a divorced woman with kids, when looking for a man, isn't truly after a partner or love. She's looking for a provider. In today's economic environment, even men are struggling. So just imagine a divorced woman with children. Of course, they want to find a single guy willing to support their kids, serve as a fallback and supporter. I've always said that a man who marries a divorced woman and takes on her child is destined for a bitter outcome. Why do I say this? Just look at some of the men around you, right? Even with biological children, if they haven't received proper attention and education from a young age, they might not even care for you in old age. And that's with a biological bond. So imagine children from a previous marriage with no blood ties to you. There are many men who sacrifice in a relationship because they have kids with these women, which gives them a reason to stay. After all, they are taking care of their own DNA. It's the blood bond that makes them willing to be workhorses. Like a friend of mine said recently, when he had his daughter, he left his job to spend more time with her and build a connection. But would you really feel the same holding a child that's not biologically yours? Often, this is more about self-deception, a fantasy that if you're enough for the mother, she and the child will love you back.
They won't. A lot of times they won't. Most stepfathers get treated like shit. A lot of times nobody even talks to the stepfather in the house. You taking these kids to games, football games, soccer games, and everything, and they still don't respect you. They're just crazy about their biological father that was barely even there. And your goofy ass comes in thinking that you did the right thing and everybody should love you, when secretly they hate your ass.
But in reality, human nature is far harsher than you might think. So, through this video, I want to emphasize once again,
Once more.
if you're single, never marry a divorced woman with kids.
Listen.
If it's just for fun, that's fine. But
Yeah.
if you're serious, in their hearts, their child will always come first, and you'll always be last. When the time comes to choose, they'll choose the child, not you, because that's their blood, and you're just a tool to them. These days, trusting in romantic relationships is the riskiest thing. What really matters is investing in yourself, building your knowledge, and becoming a valuable man from the inside out. Only then will you never lack quality female options. So, would you still consider a divorced woman with children? Ha ha ha. So, friends, do you agree with my perspective? Feel free to leave a comment below.
I agree 100%.
I completely agree with the opinion presented in the last video. but I'd like to hear your opinion on this dilemma. Would you date a young woman who has been divorced and has a child? Or would you prefer an older woman who has never had a long-lasting relationship but doesn't have children? Keep in mind that both women have stable financial conditions and could essentially support you. Which one would you choose to date?
I'm gonna choose the older ones, and then we can both drive off into the sunset with our Porsches on Sunset. That's the one I'm gonna choose.
My opinion, I would prefer to stay single, but if I had to choose, I would go for the older woman. I know many won't agree with me, but I prefer an older woman without kids than dealing with another man's child.
Always choose the odd choice. The odd choice is sometimes the best choice. The most common choice is usually the idiotic choice. So, there you go. It's just like the election. A lot of people didn't want Trump to win, but he won. What you gonna do about it? And to be honest with you, when it comes to the election, it doesn't affect most people because a lot of you guys are struggling and you're broke and you can't pay your mortgage. These rich politicians don't care. They have their own thing going on, and you have something else going on that they have no idea of, and they don't care. I promise you.
Child. My opinion comes from the fact that I really don't have a desire to have children. At least, that's my mindset right now. Of course, I might change my opinion if someone convinces me with a solid argument. The issue is that often people, especially men, feel pressured by society to form a family with children.
I don't.
The expectation of having an heir, continuing the family name, or even...
And that's another thing. Society tells men that they have to have children, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to have kids, and I'm going to drop them off at your house. I still got to work. I still got to hustle. It's not free. So you're telling me to make things that I can't afford. Or I'll have to work 10 times harder and never see them. So what's the point?
Even having someone to care for them in old age weighs heavily in the culture. However, this pressure doesn't take into account that not everyone shares the same desires or future outlook. Choosing to be with a woman with or without children is very personal and depends on how each person views the responsibilities of life. In Chinese culture, forming a family and having children is essential. It's a dilemma that's understandable, as many prefer to be with a young single mother who can still give them a child rather than an older woman who, in their view, is left behind. But at the same time, this desire to follow traditional family patterns ignores the feelings and desires of the people involved, who may not fit those molds. Yeah, me personally, I think that kind of thinking is becoming outdated. What truly matters in a relationship is the emotional connection, mutual respect, and the willingness to build something together.
And like I said, once the sex stops in a relationship or marriage, y'all roommates. I don't give a damn what none of y'all say. She lost respect for you, and you try to go out and simp your way back into having sex. No. She's done. She's tired of you, bro. Anyway, this is a very interesting video. I like this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let me know what you think in the comments section. Good night.